Hey folks, Alamanik the HotRodHippie here. Today's video we're installing an ICT Billet bracket assembly for a LS based engine onto the LQ4 6-liter engine in the 65C10 I've been working on. So let's check it out. So first and foremost, I want to cover why it is I'm running this bracket setup on this engine. This setup here, we did have the original cast bracket that would allow us to run the power steering and the alternator on the motor. However, it interfered with the LS3 water pump that I have on this engine because I like the way that that water pump plumbs better. It puts the water neck to the driver's side rather than the passenger side of the engine and opens up the possibility of running an LS-based intake manifold rather than truck intake manifold on this engine later if we decide to. Also with that, this is a plate and spacer design, meaning it's just a couple of billet machined plates and different spacers and bolts that assemble together to form the bracket setup. The AC bracket that we're running on this truck is the same style. So having the cast bracket on one side and the AC with the plate and spacer design just didn't look quite right. It was not really aesthetically pleasing. So this is going to allow us to have a similar look on both sides of the engine. And the last reason that we're running this setup on this engine is actually a really practical one. The power steering pump on the original cast bracket design is very low on that bracket. This setup is running a drop member front suspension which sucks the cross member up into the truck and has a rack and pinion steering setup. The pump and the rack and pinion steering were very, very close together on the original design. I would have been able to plumb it, but it would have been complicated. It was so close together I would have had to make some type of big loop with the hose, come back around to the rack, and it just would have been ugly as well as just being unnecessarily cluttered. So with this bracket design, this setup is actually converting to a GM Type 2 pump, which is a smaller pump that uses an external reservoir, and it moves the pump up and away from that power steering rack. So I'm going to be able to much more easily plumb the power steering pressure line to that power steering rack now with this design. So let's take a look at the kit quick. What we got is we got this thing packaged in a very simple packaging, just kind of a sleeve, a heat seal at different points. And this is the most affordable bracket setup I was able to find on the market at $124.99. So at that price point, I understand that they saved a little bit on the packaging. We got the 2 1/4-inch aluminum brackets, which are listed as aerospace grade aluminum, which is kind of a catch-all term, doesn't really mean anything in particular to me, since aerospace uses a bunch of different grades of aluminum. The brackets are 1/4 inch thick. I could almost like to see them a little bit thicker, but between the two of them, I think it's going to serve its function. We'll see once I get it installed. The front plate has the ICT Billet logo machined into the face of it. I don't love that. I really don't like when companies brand their products so much. The AC bracket that I have on the other side of the motor is from a different company. Thankfully, it is not branded, but if it was, I would have one brand on one side and another brand on the other side, and I don't like that. I don't want to be seeing 2 different company names. I don't want folks to look at it and go, oh, they pieced this together. The rest of the kit is all the hardware you're going to need, which are nice flanged metric bolts. That's really nice to see. Comes with spacers you need and a smooth idler pulley to reroute the belt the way it needs to be rerouted for this configuration. And lastly, it comes with a single page of instructions, which is just SolidWorks pictures showing you what configuration it's all supposed to go in. It's pretty straightforward, though some type of instructions might have been a little bit nice. I know they have some more information listed on their website as to what alternator you need to pick, what power steering pump you should run, what pulley. None of that is listed on the instructions. And while yes, I did order this and I got that information when I ordered it, I should still have that for quick reference on the instructions. Just a personal opinion here. Lastly, I did get the 145 amp alternator here for this setup. We're just going to be running the alternator for the standard LQ4 truck engine that this is going onto. So like 2004 2500 HD Chevy for this one. So this does allow you to run either the 105 amp or the 145 amp one. I went for the bigger one because why not? It just takes a belt change to change from one to the other. Unfortunately, the power steering pump hasn't arrived yet, so I'm gonna get the brackets installed on the alternator, but not the power steering pump today. So let's go ahead and get this on there. So now I've got this all set up, it's together. It went together in probably 8-10 minutes altogether, and that half of that time was probably spent looking for the right wrench, the right ratchet, and all of that. Overall, easy install. The instructions were as clear as I expected from the pictures, much like putting together, say, a Lego set. It has a good look that matches the other side of the motor with the AC setup quite nicely. It also moves the alternator down and away a little bit, so it shows off the motor itself a little more, and I kind of like that. Most importantly, the power steering pump will be here, which now should make plumbing to the rack significantly easier because it is much higher up and will be a smaller pump with different exit location. So that's the install of the ICT Billet bracket assembly. They have a bunch of different bracket setups for all kinds of different accessories, options, if you just want to run no power steering, if you want to run power steering without the AC compressor. They've got all these different setups. Like I said, I have an AC setup from somebody else. I already had it, so I didn't need to pick up that setup, but they had that as well. And honestly, I think if you got their accessories for the alternator, power steering, and the AC compressor as the full kit there, it's close to the same price as what just the alternator and power steering setup would be from somebody else. Obviously, that doesn't include accessories. You do have to provide your own. The power steering pump for this is coming from like a 2000 Corvette, a C5 Corvette will be the power steering pump I'm using in this, as well as the power steering pulley and the truck alternator that I would just order to match the motor here. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this setup. Like I said, I don't love that branding on there, but it went together really easy. I like the hardware that came with it. The overall design is right where it needs to be, and I'm happy and I'm pleased with it, especially for the price point. Down in the description, there'll be a link to this product as well as ICT Billet's website, so you can check out their other products. If you go ahead and pick it up from the link down below, that's Amazon. That's where I picked it up. I got free shipping because I picked it up with Amazon Prime. If you're not a Prime member, I'll throw a link to a free promo checkout for Amazon Prime as well. Cancel at any time, but you can check out Amazon Prime. I really love the service. I make use of it a lot. And that's it for this video, folks. I hope you found it informative. I hope you liked it. If you did, go ahead and drop a like down below. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you have this set up on your engine? You have some issues with it? Are you happy with it? You have a different company's design that you paid way more for? What are you thinking? Let me know in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more content like this every week. Thanks for coming around, folks.